Hey everyone, Ronan back. We're going to do another Ghost in the Shell today, and we're on episode 11, which is called Affection. And I do remember a bit of this episode from previous watches, and I do consider this to be one of my favorite episodes. But this one I remember a lot, particularly the music, because I remember liking the music a lot, and I do remember some of the major beats of the story. And yeah, I'm really interested in seeing if there's anything new I can pick out of this. I'm really excited to watch this with you guys. I wonder if some of you feel the same way about this episode, because this one is definitely a bit different than what we've seen throughout the series. We finally get to have a look into the Major's past, and I think it's done in a really interesting way. That'll be all I'll say on that before we dive into it, because I haven't seen it for years, but I feel like I remember it good, but I'm looking forward to seeing if there's anything about it that I may have missed or just don't remember anymore. If you want to, feel free to like, comment, subscribe on the videos, and thank you to my patrons for jumping on and supporting me up to this point. Really appreciate it. And we do have a Discord server up now, so feel free to look into the description below and click on the link. Joining up is free. We'll go ahead and dive on into this though.
Off to the ladies' room? Looks that way. The walls and floor in the restroom are completely tiled. The windows have fixed fittings with aluminum bars on the outside.
No bars. God, that thing she's wearing is very nice. Jeez. That's so sick. Oh my god. Can you imagine just someone just doing that? Yep. Oh my god.
Don't you think that the difficulty level of this test for new recruits is a little out of whack?
Get serious.
Ah, so these are the new guys.
To beat something like this, then you don't have the right stuff to make it as a trainee.
What's the situation over there?
Just reading the paper and drinking some coffee.
I meant them.
So did I.
Dawned on them yet that they might have been implanted with false memories?
That's the first thing I taught them how to spot.
Is this the last team?
Unfortunately, it is.
That would be a fun test to do, albeit very hard. Good lord, Major. Jeez. Again, I'd be the worst member on the team. Or would I be the best? Because I would do anything. No, I'd be the worst. Yeah, for sure.
I'm sorry, sir. I lost the target.
Did you now? Nope. What's your next move?
We'll try doing another sweep of the area.
You will, huh? Well, good luck with that. Major, it's over. Let's head back to the office. Major?
There has to be a fun element to training people like that again, but probably a boredom factor. That's badass. Love that effect. Everybody's gone.
Is this a hack? Bato! Bato!
Oh shit.
I didn't feel anything slip past my 4 layers of defense barriers. If the trainees are behind this, they're pretty impressive.
Fuck yeah, if you can get the Major like that, that'd be like, yes, we want you on our team. It's interesting that they couldn't find her though. Like, I don't quite have my head wrapped around that.
So this is the finish line, huh?
Of course, you have to bite your glasses. And you gotta put the glasses there. Good Jesus.
My skin's touch receptors are definitely picking up real tactile responses. But in spite of that, this whole thing doesn't seem real at all.
That's interesting too. She's utilizing all of her senses that her body can pick up from a perspective of like her body is a tool. Receptors working as I touch this. So on a physical level, she's able to get readings that she can touch something and her body's reacting to it. Because she must feel that way to a certain extent anyway. That like almost like she's viewing the world in like a third party perspective in a sense, instead of like as someone who's in it.
Prosthetic bodies?
Aren't they adorable? The children, I mean.
Are you the proprietor?
I'm not going to say anymore. She just has to look good in every angle that's drawn. It's like, Major, I'm trying to pay attention to this story. Can't pay attention.
The air in here is thick with the psychic imprints that emanate from so many of them.
Psychic imprint.
So everything in here is like a memory?
These are rare collectibles. They were created back in the early days of full prosthetic bodies.
So tell me, what sort of memories do you sense between...
I'm terribly sorry, but I'm closing early today. I'll tell you all about them then.
Am I tripping, or did her clock say 6, and then she looked at her clock and it was, I think it said 7?
Damn it, Major. Don't up and disappear on us like that again. You want to tell us where the hell you've been?
Here and there.
Before I came to Section 9, the Major would have shaken me in no time.
You? No, that's a
Talking shit.
Trying to tell me you can stalk a target who can up and vanish the way the Major does and tail him right to the bitter end?
You bet your ass. Retracing the same route she took yesterday?
How can you not notice Bato? Big ass dude walking behind you. You're about to lose her too, Bato.
Did she realize I was tailing her?
Where does she go? That's one thing I don't know.
Let's not waste time. I want to hear about them.
Here we go.
When the boy was 6 years old, he was in a plane crash. Apparently, it was a terrible accident in which most of the passengers were killed.
Jeez.
No survivors except for this boy and a girl who...
It's got to be insane for people that work in healthcare, like doctors, nurses.
However, the girl was in a coma and never regained consciousness. As for the boy, he was completely paralyzed except for his left arm. When the boy's injuries had healed, he suddenly became aware of his situation and the effects the crash had had on his life. Difficult for the lad to accept all this in his young mind, but he tried as best he could. It was then that he began to think of the little girl who was sleeping in the bed next to his.
Damn, that little tear kind of got me emotional.
Please let her wake up. He prayed that again and again as he painstakingly continued to fold paper cranes with his one good hand. A while later, the poor girl's condition took a sudden turn for the worse.
I can't get an ECF reading.
Poor kid.
The next morning, the boy asked what had happened to the girl. He was told that she had gone far away.
And I love the narration for the story too. Very well acted. And then the animation for this is like insane.
2
Like,
years.
it's gotta be a lot of technical stuff going on here.
Did he say anything today? Just that he wanted some white paper.
Here we go. This song is what I remember the most.
We came here to offer you something. If you're interested, there's a procedure that will allow us to completely replace your paralyzed body. Are you brave enough to give it a try? You'll be able to live a normal life, just like you used to. The boy didn't answer. He said,
Man, and this is like a new idea for back then, rather.
the boy had no incentive, no desire to return to his old normal life.
We're gonna turn into a fucking cyborg, you know, straight up.
But there was one person, a little girl who gave him the nudge that he needed to open up. She was about the same age as the boy and had already successfully undergone the full prosthetics procedure.
Wow.
To convince the boy to at least consider having the same treatment. It seems that the little girl came to visit the boy at the hospital.
The boy's like, I don't give a shit.
Can you fold origami cranes with your prosthetic hands? If you can, then I guess I wouldn't mind getting a full prosthetic body too.
Yeah, they were using her as a way to get to him, to get to do it. Like, and then this is something that probably a lot of people don't think about, is that if you were cyberized like this, you'd have to, like, I guess it'd be kind of like a video game almost, like trying to get good at doing these really small little moves and details. And maybe that's just not within her capability at the time. Maybe like the software is not good enough or the hardware is not good enough to do really small movements.
The boy became dejected by her failures and said, if I won't be able to make folded cranes for the girl who died, then I'm fine with staying just the way I am. She left, telling him, I'm going to practice making origami cranes so that I can fold them for you someday, okay?
That had to be kind of a blow for her too,
Yes,
if you think about it.
She was the girl who'd been injured in the crash with him. the one who he thought had died, he decided to get a prosthetic body too. He also swore to himself that he would go and see the girl who had vanished from the hospital. Apparently, it was being preserved there as a specimen. The moment he saw
Yep.
it, he recognized it as the girl he was looking for.
So what happened to the boy?
Yeah, I guess when you reach a certain age, you have to upgrade to a more mature body to reflect your age, I guess.
He hasn't been back here since, and I haven't heard from him at all. I suppose it's possible that he's dead.
So they never got to find each other.
I'll bet that even now, that girl is still searching for the first boy she ever loved.
It was the Major the whole time. So really, I think that's like part of like what makes the Major so special is that she was one of the first people to go fully prosthetic, and why she is so good at doing what she does, because she's been that way longer than anybody almost.
I'm considering resetting the level of difficulty and letting him have another go at it. What do you think?
And why she probably tends to relate to other people that are fully cyberized, and then has these really like deep and long conversations.
It always takes time to be good at something. No one's an expert right off the bat.
Yeah. You know, to hear you say that sure takes a load off my mind.
Yeah, let's give these rookies a shot. Yeah, that's such a good episode. It's still just as good as I remember. Just the way it's beautifully narrated by that lady. And it's interesting when she like plays the parts of people in the story. She doesn't really change her voice all that much to like help with the fantasy of telling the story. She just, I don't know, she just exuded the right energy for each character, and she almost even like played each character the same way. It's just, you can tell when she was speaking as a different character as she was doing it, and just, it's just so well done. And yeah, it's and like my point with the Major, you know, connecting with people a little more, at least like it seems that way anyway. She seems to connect with people a little more that are fully cyberized, and she has these deep conversations, like whether it's with Bato or with Goda, and you know, whether it's with a friend or a foe. They then dive into a type of conversation I think only people that have been fully cyberized can fully understand. You know, Tokusa can sometimes dive into that a little bit, but he ultimately is kind of out of his depth at some point. He can only kind of theorize, whereas Bato has been in the same line of work as the Major, and he has been fully cyberized for a long time. Not as long as the Major, which is why sometimes the Major goes maybe like one step further into, you know, talking about like philosophy and all that stuff, because she's been in it just long enough to reach that point. And rarely is she able to find someone else who kind of finds himself in the same shoes as her, you know, to be cyberized at that young of an age, and then go through, you know, the physical trials, and then she's probably constantly going through the mental trials. At this point, she's been cybernetic more than she's ever been human, technically, like as far as the physical aspects of it. You know, her brain is still human and intact, but the physical aspect, you know, she probably doesn't remember a whole lot of what that was like. Like, I just like thinking about it, especially to transition into a cyborg before you ever hit puberty and go through all those phases of like what kids go through growing up, you know, puberty and, you know, any sort of like sexual awakening. That has to be an interesting thing too, that she's never experienced something with a lover as a human prior to being a cyborg. So she experiences that on a different level, which is probably why she's so fluid with it, and has probably had multiple different types of lovers from different avenues and categories, you know, throughout her life and stuff like that. And it's there's no barrier for her in that regard. It seems like she gives off that vibe anyway, and that's just so interesting. Whereas Togusa, you know, he's still mostly human, and even if he got cyberized now, like he's obviously been human most of his life, so he would go through probably a difficult transitional period with that. But probably also why he's like the most like grounded and earthly and has those, you know, worldly, you know, bonds and things like family and, you know, kids and love and things like that. Not that cyborgs can't experience those things, but it's just different. Obviously, he's the more humanized version of that, and that's And that's a big reason why he's part of Section 9, is because not only is he awesome at doing what he's doing, but he also has that earthly tether, you know, of being human and having that human element, and he can think in a way that everybody else there may have forgotten, aside from Saito as well. But Saito's also a different beast, even though he's mostly human. Saito is a different animal than Togusa, for sure. So they got a really nice, diverse group of people already. You know, they just need more of those types of people, which is also part of the reason of this episode, of them training new people, things like that. And then, then that story about her backstory, showing like how she was not good at folding cranes at first, just reminded her, hey, even you, a total fucking badass, sucked at something at some point. It was your first time doing it. It's unrealistic to expect people to just know how to run through your maze and make it out okay on the first try. Train them a little more. That's what training's for, right? People train all the time, even experts. The music, fantastic. Acting is fantastic. The storytelling in this episode is fantastic. I love the whole story. I think still one of my favorite episodes in all of Standalone Complex. Was very happy to re-experience it. So thanks guys for allowing me to do it again. I will say though, as far as differences in my experience this time as before, I don't think I ever got as emotional as I did watching it this time. You know, watching the boy get emotional about losing the girl initially, and then being left alone, and then being stubborn about losing her. You know, even though this girl's trying to help him out and do good things for him and help him make a decision. Yeah, I felt really bad for the boy. Maybe it's because I'm older now and I've experienced more things. I've experienced more loss and been able to be more open to like empathy and things like that, and relate to things a bit more like that on that level. Just I know how things like that, how much it hurts. So it was definitely a different experience for me. So that was the one main thing. There were a couple little details here and there that I don't know. Does anybody know where the frick she goes, man? Like when she goes into that world, and then physically, like no one can find her. Where does she go? You know, does she actually go physically to this store? And that's just, people just don't know she goes to the store. Like, I still don't know. But anyway, that's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.